Sri Gurubhyo Namaha children, we are continuing the first part, we have finished first part and we are continuing the second part of the lesson, first unit, two gentlemen of Verona. We are learning about Jacopo and his brother Niccolo and his sister Lucia, and we are stopped there when they were just going in the car to meet her sister. But this was not known to the narrator, but those two boys were just going, and when they were just going in the car, just like that they left them and just sleep. They doesn't want to disturb this narrator to take to her sister's place. They said that to take him somewhere rest, and they were just leaving. We will continue the class, children. The following afternoon we drew to the tiny village set high upon the hillside. I imagined that our determination would be some humble dwellings, but directed by Jacopo, we drew up at the large red-roofed villa surrounded by a high stone wall. I could scarcely believe my eyes, and before I could recover breath by my two passengers had leaped from the car. We shall not be long, sir, perhaps only an hour. May you would like to go to the cave in the village for a drink. They disappeared beyond the corner of the wall. So what had happened when they went in the car, those two boys just got down from the car and they said, sir, there is in a village there is a cave, you can go and have your coffee there and wait, we will be just going. So they have not shown or they have not invited him where they are going, they just ran away from that place. So they moved from that place. After a few minutes I followed, I found a grilled side entrance and determinedly rang the bell. So the narrator had not stopped, he was following them, and as he followed there was a gate and grilled side entrance, and determinedly rang the bell. The narrator went and he was just ringing the bell, determinedly calling bell you will be having, no, he was started ringing it. And without any hesitation he rang the bell. No, you will not go and do in others' house simply. So, but here he goes to unknown place and he was just ringing. He thought that it may be Niccolo's house or some relatives will be there, like that. He wanted to know what was there. A pleasant looking woman with steel rimmed spectacles appeared. I blinked as I saw that she was dressed in the white uniform of a trained nurse. So when he rang up, a nurse came out. How she is? She is pleasant looking woman with steel rimmed, you know that mostly a nurse will be having a steel rimmed spectacles, and you know their white uniform. So they were wearing, appeared, and I blinked as I saw that she was dressed in the white uniform of a trained nurse. So he thought, the narrator thought it may be their house or some relatives will be there, and when he rang the bell only a nurse came out. I just brought two small boys here. So he was asking to the nurse, I brought two small boys. And yes, her face lit up. She opened the door to admit me. Niccolo and Jacopo, I will take you up. So the nurse just opened and she was telling that it is Jacopo and Nicholas. So I will take you up. So she was just taking him and leading him, and the narrator was just following her. She led me through a cool, tiled vestibule into the hospital. So it was a small room and it was very cool and tiled, and there she was just walking and taking. For hospital the villa had become. At the door of a little cubble the nurse passed but her finger to her lips, and with a smile bade we looked through the glass partition. The two boys were seated at the bedside of a girl of about 20 who, propped up on a pillows wearing a pretty lace jacket, was listening to their chatter. Her eyes soft and tender, one could see at a glance her resemblance to her brothers. A vase of wildflowers stood on her table beside a dish of fruit and several books. So when the nurse leaded them to the room, next to them a 20 years old girl was just sitting and they were talking, those two boys were talking with her, and the author saw and he doesn't want to disturb them. So here the nurse will be just continuing and saying all the story to him. I will see what it is. So the two boys were just gone to meet her sister, and the room had been explained. Now it is at the doors of little cubble. So it was a big house, but inside it was an hospital. And A smile bade me look through the glass partition. There was a glass partition for each room, and through the glass he was looking. He saw that two boys were seated at the besides of the girl. So girl was 20 years, girl was there, and these two boys were sitting with her and they were chatting, and the girl was just propped up on a pillow wearing a pretty lace jacket, was listening to their chatter. Her eyes, her sister's eyes was as soft and tender. One could see at a glance a resemblance. So one could see that they were brothers and sisters, their resemblance was there. A vase of wild flowers stood on a table beside a dish of fruit and several books. So she was having several books, a dish of fruits and a lesson. Okay. Won't you go in? The nurse murmured, Lucia will be pleased to see you. So the nurse was just telling, well, we can go to her inside and see them. So he want to just saying, and it is not possible, he is not ready to go. Won't you go in? The nurse murmured, Lucia will be pleased to see you. Lucia will be happy to see you. Why can't you go in? I shook my head and turned away. I felt I could not bear to intrude upon this happy family party. But at the foot of the staircase, I drew up and begged her to tell me all she knew about these boys. So here the narrator said that he doesn't want to disturb those reunion family, and in that he doesn't want to intrude and disturb them. Instead of that, near the stage, he was requesting the nurse to tell about those two boys. She was eager to do, so the nurse also ready to share about those two boys. They were, she explained, quite alone in the world except for the sister Lucia. Their father, a widower, a well-known singer, had been killed in the early part of the war. Shortly afterward, a bomb had destroyed their home and thrown the three children into the street. They had always known a comfortable and cultured life. So what had happened? The World War bomb had just made. So that nurse was telling, her father, those two boys' father was a magician who was singing songs, and these two boys and that girl was enjoying their family life. And when they were enjoying their family life, what had happened, all of a sudden, because of the war, a bomb had been thrown, and those father had been died in that accident, and these two boys and that girl had become orphan, and their home and other things all been left. It had been destroyed by the bomb, and they made a home, and they were just living. And because of her sickness of her sister, so we will see what it is. Herself been training as a singer, and they had suffered horribly from near starvation and exposure to the cold winter. So when they were thrown out of the house and the house all been destroyed, they had been just living in a cold winter without a house. You just imagine, in a cold winter without a house, how you will be just starving. It had happened. For months they had barely kept themselves alive in a sort of a shelter they built with their own hands amidst the rubble. Then for 3 years the Germans ruled the city. The boys grew to hate the Germans. When the resistance movement began secretly to form, they were among the first to join. When the war was over and we had peace at last, they came back to their beloved sister, and they found her suffering from tuberculosis of the spine. For months they had barely kept themselves alive in a sort of a shelter they built with their own hands amidst the rubble. So they made their own house built, and handmade house they built, and they were just living in that for a month. And then for 3 years the Germans ruled the city. After that 3 years the Germans were ruled the city. The boys grew to hate the Germans. The boys grew to start hating the Germans. So the boys grew to hate the Germans. When the resistance movement began secretly to form, they were among the first to join. When the war was over and we had peace at last, so after the German had gone and the war had been over, the boys again they came. When they came back to their beloved sister, they found her suffering from tuberculosis of the spine. So they noticed that her sister was suffering from tuberculosis of spine, and after the thing, So she paused to quick breath. So she stopped there and she took a quick breath. Did they give up? I do not have to answer that question. They brought her here, persuaded us to take her into the hospital. In the 12 months she has been our patient, she has made good progress. There is every hope that one day she will walk and sing again. So here when they brought her, she was very serious, and 12 months had got over and there is a progress in her health, and one fine day she will be surely coming out of her hospital and she will be just practicing her singing, and she will be a good singer. So the nurse puts this word, and there is a hope that she will be doing it. Okay. Of course, everything is so difficult now. Food so scarce and dear, we could not keep going unless we charged a fee. But every week, Lucia's brother have made their payment. She added simply, I don't know what they do. I do not ask. Work is scarce in Verona, but whatever it is, I know they do it well. So here she is telling that I know that those two boys are doing a job, and I never asked what job they were doing, but I know that really they will be doing good job there. I never asked them, she was telling. And yes, I agreed, they couldn't do it better. So here the narrator also says that more than this nobody can do it. They were from early morning to till late night, they were just doing hard work. The narrator also accepts that. I waited outside until the boys rejoined me and then drove them back to the city. They sat beside me, not speaking. For my part, I did not ask a word I knew. They would prefer to feel that they had safely kept their secret, yet their devotion had touched me deeply. So here the narrator was again, he went to the tea shop and where the cave is, and he was just waiting there. The two boys just came to that place. After coming there, they just got into the car. Even the narrator did not ask the two boys what they were doing and whom they met. And these boys also not spoke even a single word in the car till they were just driving. And they not even opened their mouth and spoke one word. What they thought, they kept the secret. Even that secret must be maintained. So the narrator also not told them that what he knows. So war had not broken their spirit. Their selfless action brought a new nobility to human life, gave promise of a greater hope for human society. So here war was there, and it will break all the family, and there will be frustration and there will be lot of difficulties. But these two boys, even in that wartime, it had not brought any new bad things in their quality. So only their selfless action brought a new nobility to human life and gave promise of greater hope for the human society. So even whatever the obstacles, whatever the trouble, whatever the problem we are facing, we must be united and we must be sacrificing our life to our family members. So that is the lesson and moral you are learning from this. So the war has not shaken their spirit, and the difficulty had not shaken their determination. So here they were working hard to serve their sister, and their love to be, there is no word to share that how sacrifice they made in that age of 13 and 12. So they have done a lot. This story explains all that glitters is not gold, and the appearance are deceptive. They kept the sorrow in their heart, but put as a brave face. So they had lot of trouble in them, and they never shared their trouble, and they never showed, always smiling and laughing and doing all the hard work. Children, you know that you are also facing lot of difficulties and troubles. You know that you are not able to come to school, and with smart board and with the laptop and with the cell phone you are learning, we know all the troubles, but what to do, we have to face the exam. So you have to adjust. You just saw the two boys, 13 years and 12 years, Jacopo and Nicholas, how they were struggled hard in their life. Like that you have to struggle, and you have to not show your struggle to anybody. When you are getting your marks, flying colors in your exam, you will be sharing all this to your parents. So whatever the trouble you are facing, you hide and put your determination and hard work and sacrifice, so that you will be shining in your life. You learnt a nice moral in this lesson, children. We will keep full stop and we will continue second unit in the next class. Thank you, children.